What's up, nerds? Welcome back to another episode of Kanode Knows, brought to you by Dig BMX. This week on the show, we got Johnny Raekes. And Johnny is one of the best bike riders in the world right now. He's pushing the envelope of what's possible with all of his tech trickery. And he's on the pro team for Fiend BMX. He rides for Vans. And who else does he ride for? We kind of get into it in the podcast. Oh, he just got on Odyssey, and we go over his Welcome to Odyssey Pro part. Johnny's an amazing human being on top of just being amazing at riding bikes. He's really good at kendama, and he's a smart cookie. He's a really fun dude to talk to, and I enjoyed this episode very much. I hope you guys do too. But before we get into it, I got a couple of asks. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications. Share the show with a friend. If you share the show with one friend, we'll grow, and then we can all be millionaires by next week, probably. If you're listening, please leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. And one more ask is go to rarlife.com and get your green superfoods, which will make you healthy like Johnny. And you'll get 15% off by using the promo code Kanode. And that's it. So let's get into it. Johnny Raekes. Hello, Johnny Raekes. Raekes?
Bobby Kanode.
Raekes. Raekes.
You got it right.
Where's that from? Raekes.
I have no idea. That's a good question. I should probably figure that out.
23andMe. Like Kanode is also a weird one.
You know where you're from?
I learned once that I'm FIGS, F-I-G-S, French, Irish, German, Scottish. And then I told my mom that a year ago, and she was like, that's wrong. I was like, well, whatever. I'm just a white mutt, whatever.
Interesting.
Raekes sounds interesting. I'm curious. Let's do a little 23andMe after the pod.
Word. Yeah, it's an interesting one. Not many people know how to say it, so props for actually knowing how to say it. It's pretty
Johnny
cool.
Raekes. And I saw your email has John in it. Do you go by John sometimes?
Not really. That's my legal name, but I'm a junior. My dad's name is also John, so
just straight up John, not Jonathan?
Nope, just John.
Nice.
But yeah, to differentiate between me and my dad, I've always just called me Johnny, and it just stuck.
That makes sense. That's dope.
Maybe one day I'll take on John.
That's how I feel about Bob. I'll eventually when I get older, I'll be Bob. When I was I was 10 and I was in school, and because my real name's Robert, and I told my teacher, it's Bobby now, just out of nowhere. And then it's stuck for the rest of my life. And someday I'll go back to being Robert or Bob, old man Bob or Robert. Anyway,
hello, Robert.
Hello, John.
Howdy.
So you just dropped this Odyssey video, and it's incredibly impressive. It's like every single clip is you got to rewind it and watch it twice. Maybe that's why it had 10,000 views in one day, which is fantastic. And it's a welcome to pro, dude. Congratulations.
Yes, sir. Thank you. It was a lot of fun to work on the project, and that's always my goal, is to make sure you have to rewatch it. If you can understand it fully in the first time you're watching it, I feel like I failed as a writer. So it's cool to hear.
That's a crazy good goal, dude. I mean, let's see. Well, I think we should watch it together in a bit, but just tell me how it came about. Is this, sorry for not knowing shit, but were you on Odyssey prior to this, or are you joining Odyssey and this just straight to pro? How long have you been talking with Odyssey or being a part of it?
Yeah. So it's pretty interesting. A couple months ago, I just wanted to escape the Washington weather. And so I got a royalty check from these kendama sales. And so I immediately just bought a flight out to Austin. Sick. And initially it was just vacation, just to get out and get in some more weather and ride with homies. But I ended up leaving Animal around a similar time. And I've been joking around with some of the riders, like, I'm trying to get put on. I want to do trips with you guys. And so, I just hit up Zach Kramus, and we started having some preliminary talks. And then it was pretty cool how it how it all came together and how it was finalized. I was literally on the plane to Austin signing the contract, getting on.
No shit.
Felt like a gangster. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fucking awesome.
So yeah,
so
it was a
did you buy
a
one-way ticket?
Yeah, I did. Didn't know how long I was going to stay. Thought it might just be a couple weeks, and ended up almost being 2 whole months.
So this all happened really fast. And now that you say Animal, I'm like, oh yeah, you were on Animal. What happened there?
I'd just been on forever. It'd been like 7 years. It was one of my very first sponsors.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was just ready to try something new.
Nice.
And obviously our our window of opportunity to make money in BMX is very small, and so
Yeah.
I was just trying to capitalize on what I could at the time and just try to bank on myself. And I'm glad this came together. It was a big
That's
upgrade.
that's really smart of you, man. It did your smarts come when you got the glasses, or is it
In that case, I should be a genius by 12, and I've been pretty dumb my whole life, so I don't think so.
I don't know. It seems like you're pretty smart, man. You know what's good for health, I think, and I don't know. You're incredibly like kinetically gifted. Kinetic intelligence is a thing. You tell your body to do something, and then you can do double crank flips and all the shit that you. So wild. Just I filmed you in person once doing a double crank flip, and it doesn't even seem real. It's just and it's done. It's like it's like watching a video game, watching you ride. It's incredible.
That's cool to hear.
Yeah, do you remember me trying to get you on Sabrosa
Yeah, do you remember that
back
I
in the
was
day?
on for like a month?
No, I
Did you
don't
ever hear
remember
about that?
shit.
That's
Tell me,
funny.
tell me.
So yeah, I think obviously we ran into each other. I think you guys were doing a little shop stop or something, and
Mm-hmm.
we ended up kicking it. And I was riding with the whole squad. And what was the deal? I think I had just left Stranger, and I believe Sabrosa put me on for a short while. They sent me a bike and sent me a rail, and everything was going good. But then I got a text from JJ Palmier, who was asking me if I wanted to be a part of Fiend. And obviously, I felt terrible, but there's no way I could say no to that. Those were
Yeah,
the
no
dudes who
shot.
inspired my every move as a child. So
For real.
I had to say yes to that one.
I remember not being mad at all. I was like, good for you, dude. Fiend is the shit. I'm
Hell
stoked.
yeah.
And now it's shit. That's been a long time ago. That was, 7 or 8, 9 years ago. I don't.
Yeah, somewhere around there, 7, 8.
It's all kind of a blur. What was that like? So you got the text from JJ. I want to know like your first, because Fiend is, it's Garrett Reynolds and Tony Ennis and Ty Morrow, and it's like, had you known them prior to getting on, and what was it like? Did they make you like come kick it and see if you mesh with the crew? What was your first experience with getting on Fiend like? We'll get back to the Odyssey video, but I want to know about Fiend.
It was pretty surreal. Those dudes were my biggest inspiration with riding growing up. I remember literally the first video I ever saw on the internet of BMX was, I think, Garrett's props bio. So
Yes,
obviously to get that
damn.
call was pretty inspiring. And there's even moments where I was like first riding with my homie and we are filming clips for the first time. And
Yeah,
we're like, yo, pretend like Garrett and Tony are watching. And I was
yeah.
like, oh yeah, all right. Yeah, I'm gonna try it now. So it's super funny, but it all came full circle. It's pretty surreal. But yeah, I think initially they were doing a some kind of bike giveaway. You had to post like your best clips or something, and I was just going hard trying to win a free bike from them at the time. And I think they just caught on and were like, yo, I want to hook this kid up eventually. And yeah, they just started flowing me a bike. And I think the first time I ever met Garrett or any of the Fiend dudes, I was out in Huntington Beach kicking it with Sauce the Boss,
Sauce the
one of,
boss.
one of the best dudes out there.
For real.
But yeah, I ended up staying with Sauce for like a whole summer to film a video. And during that summer, I was bouncing around between Garrett's and SD and Sauce and Huntington Beach. And that was
Yes.
my first exposure to meeting them.
That was the trip where you did Smith nose bunk double bar.
Yeah.
Yeah. That video is nuts. So
Thank you.
yeah,
It's one of my favorites still.
what's it like kicking it and being on a trip with the Fiend guys? And you find yourself riding at the same kind of like you're up there with them doing crazy shit. And yeah, what's it like being on a Fiend trip?
Uh, it's amazing. Obviously, that's a standard I've always tried to live up to. It's always the ceiling I was trying to break through was always what I wanted to strive for. So to be
Yeah.
on a team with them, super validating. And yeah, it pushes me like no other. And I love riding with those dudes. I love seeing the way their minds work. Riding with people like Colin, who's just unbelievably technical. It's
Yeah.
super inspiring to me. Obviously, seeing Garrett and Tony do their thing is beyond inspirational.
It's
So
magic. That's the
yeah, it's really cool to
top of
be a
the
part of.
game.
I take the shit really seriously.
Yeah, you're on the 96 Chicago Bulls or the 90, whatever the best year is of the Bulls, man.
Yeah,
It's the dream team.
and it's filming for Fiend clips is like nothing else. The kind of standard I hold myself to is super high, and so it really brings out the best of you, which is really cool. It can
That's
also
what's
drive me
up.
crazy because my standards are way too high, but
Yeah.
sometimes it produces good shit.
I think I've seen it in person in Arizona behind a building. It was a rail to ledge setup, and you were working for a clip for, I don't know, maybe over an hour at least. And you ended up getting it, and it was fire. Do you remember the clip? It was like, I want to say it was Predator to backwards Smith cab Something like that.
I'm surprised you remember. You say you got a shitty memory. You're on point now.
Is that right?
Yeah, that was
Predator
perfect. Yeah.
to 180 Smith and then cab out. Shit.
Yeah, that's funny. You
Well,
remember that? That was a cool trip.
I get little spurts, dude. I can't remember shit, but I have little eensy beensy moments.
I'm the same way. Terrible memory, but the things I do remember, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, dude, I heard something the other day about like if you want to remember something, you learn it and then or experience it and then have an adrenaline spike afterwards and your brain triggers memory. And I was like, that's interesting.
Hmm.
So like if you're studying for a test and you memorize a bunch of shit and then you go jump in a freezing cold pool, your brain will like preserve that information more than if you didn't do that. And I'm like, oh, that's a neat little life hack.
Very
Uh,
interesting. I got to start trying it.
yeah, I guess cold plunge is a topic that leads into health. And what's, I know that you were vegan for a bit. You might still be vegan. What do you do to, how old are you and how's your health? And what do you do to maintain your health?
I'm 23 years old,
You
and I'd say
young
I'm in the
buck. Holy
best.
shit. You're
Yeah.
younger than I thought.
uh, but yeah, I've been taking my health a lot more seriously the past like 3 months, I'd say. I started going to the gym pretty consistently. Beforehand, I would just like, I don't know, be conscious about what I eat and do yoga and all kinds of breath work and cold exposure and shit like that. But
Sick.
yeah, lately I've been lifting weights and trying to get my body prepared to take damage in the streets, which
Yeah,
is
dude.
essential for what we do.
I think it's like most people realize in their late 20s, they're like, oh, yeah, I should probably take care of my body, but it's good that you're ahead of the curve with that. That's great. What kind of lifting are
Yeah,
you doing?
uh, just random shit. I don't know, picking different muscle groups every day and trying to get after it. I got a homie who's like a professional soccer player out here. He's one of my
Nice.
few friends from high school that I'm still in contact with. And yeah, he pretty much just started showing me the ropes on how to lift and shit, and we've been getting after it
Sick.
ever since the past few months.
Hell yeah. Good for you, man. Have you,
Yeah, it's
have
a lot
you
of fun.
noticed in the 3 months? I remember when I first hit the gym and started deadlifting consistently, my bunny hop went like a foot higher. I was like, holy shit. Like, I don't know if that
Damn.
applies to you because you can already pretty much hop as high as possible, but have you noticed it affecting your ability on the bike, the working out?
100%. That's really cool. You can see the tangible growth like that. But yeah, I would say it was like just getting sore and being able to ride at a high level constantly. Like on this last trip, we're pedaling around all the time in the
Yeah.
streets every day. And I don't think there was a single day where I woke up like, oh, dude, I'm so sore. Like this is going to be hard to get after it today. I was
Sick.
just waking up ready to get after it every day. So
How do you
definitely,
think you can prevent getting sore like that? I guess just,
uh,
working out like you said, but is there shit that you do at night? Like, are you still stretching and doing all the yogas?
not as much as I should be, but yeah, I aspire to. And I think breathing is a huge part of it. Just taking conscious breaths throughout the day at all times. Obviously, there's different practices you can do to, really get into it. But yeah, just conscious breathing while you're riding and everything too. Staying
Yeah,
hydrated,
dude. It's
simple
so
shit.
easy to forget to breathe while you're doing a trick. I'll be circling around trying something and then I like, oh yeah, I need to breathe and then like think about breathing. So if somebody is new to conscious breathing or just, breathing exercises in general, what would you tell them to start with?
um, it's hard to say what to start with. Maybe just setting aside a minute for something little, something easy that's attainable, and just picking a certain amount of time to follow your breath and to acknowledge when you inhale, note it as rising, falling in your mind, and just try to follow that train.
Huh.
And
Yeah.
just let all your thoughts go and focus on those.
Are you
But
counting as you inhale and exhale or like what is it? Yeah, what are you thinking about when you're doing this breathing?
um, usually just trying to focus as hard as you can on the sensation of the inhale and the exhale. But that's just like a gentle introduction. The steep path that I would suggest is the Wim Hof breathing technique. It's pretty complicated, but it's super powerful. And yeah, I can't recommend that enough. It's one of the most powerful things I've ever encountered in my life, and it's free to use. You don't need no chemicals. You don't need to buy nothing. You don't need to do shit but lay down and get high in your own supply.
I've never tried it. I've seen somebody talking about it or demonstrating it. Is it through the mouth, like that type shit, or is it
You
double
can.
inhales? It's
I try to
probably a bunch
do.
of shit.
You can do it different ways. Yeah, I try to do it through the nose and then out through the mouth. But
Okay.
it's like a very specific inhale you want to do. You want to do inhaling as deeply as you can, and then like a quarter or half of an exhale, and you do that for say 30 to 40 breaths, And then on the last one, you exhale fully, and on empty lungs, you hold your breath for like a minute to 2 minutes, and then you inhale deeply again with that same style of huge inhale. I would do it
Yeah.
right now, but it'd probably be an audio nightmare. And then you hold that on full lungs for like 15, 20, 30 seconds, and exhale again and start over. And that's one round. And I would suggest, yeah, doing like 3, 4, 5 rounds.
Damn, I'm gonna do that. Thank you.
It's really powerful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've known about it, but I've never been told to do it. So I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, it's pretty fascinating. The way you do the inhales are obviously as deep as you can, and the exhale is like a quarter to half. So you're literally just flooding your system with oxygen.
Yeah.
And then after you flood it, you empty your lungs completely and then hold with no oxygen. And it feels like all that energy just disperses out your lungs and into every other part of your body. And
Yeah.
if you do it long enough, it literally starts to feel like each and every cell of your body is like coming to life and vibrating and
Sick. I like
fully.
I like the sound of that.
Yeah, it's trippy.
Yeah, trippy. Just like I mean, it comes up a lot, but the cold plunge is trippy. It's just
Yeah.
a magical thing, and like I guess it's the same concept of like oxygen, but blood. Like it's your body pushing all the blood inside, and then when you get out, letting it slowly come back out, and you feel alive and super high on life. It's magical shit, dude.
Yeah, supercharged. And it's pretty interesting. The dude who came up with that technique figured it out through getting cold. And
Yeah,
he just noticed that you had to breathe differently when you're in the cold to survive. And then he slowly started taking that outside of the water, and then realizing it has all kinds of positive effects outside. So yeah, to get cold, I like to do that breathing technique beforehand. And
yeah,
it prepares your body for the cold way better than anything else I can think of.
for real. And it's kind of tragic, his story. Like, you know Wim Hof's story a bit? Like,
Yeah.
from my understanding, his wife died and he just needed to go feel something. So he went and jumped in freezing cold water. And that was the beginning of his journey. Is that right?
Something like that. Yeah. I think she might have even committed suicide, and it was so, hard on this system that he needed to figure out
Yeah,
how to help
something
how to help people, how to cure the sickness of, sadness in
of
ourselves or some shit.
grief.
So
Yeah, grief
yeah,
and anxiety. I just had a kid hit me up on Instagram like, "Hey man, how do you deal with anxiety?" And I kind of told him cold plunge helps a lot, and rigorous exercise and cardio always feels good. Um,
absolutely.
Cardio sucks while you're doing it, but you feel better afterwards. I prefer like weightlifting isn't so bad during it, and but you don't get the high. The runner's high is a real thing after cardio. Um,
Absolutely. It helps a lot if you have a partner as well. It's
yeah,
kind of hard to push yourself cardio wise when you're alone.
for real.
And
I wouldn't do it unless I had this class where I'm surrounded by moms and like middle-aged women who are kicking ass, and I'm like, I'm not gonna get outdone by these ladies, you know?
hell yeah, that's a good way to do
They're like, it's
it.
not competitive, but in my head, I'm like, I'm gonna fucking beat these bitches. That's
Ain't no way they're
terrible.
topping me.
That's right. Shut up, Karen. I got this. All
I can
right.
get to the manager faster than you can.
I'll race you to the manager. So let's go back to Fiend. And you've been
Sure.
on the team for years. You've had incredible sections and clips in a lot of their videos. What's been like of all the Fiend trips that you've been on? What was your favorite? And yeah, let's just talk about the trips for now.
First two that come to mind are international ones. We went to Barcelona in, I want to say 2019, 2018, 2019. And
Yeah,
then we just went to France recently as well. We went to Paris and Lyon. And yeah,
yeah.
those are the first two
The
that come to
Leon
mind.
video was so good.
Hell yeah.
I love
But
that
yeah,
one
international travel is unlike anything else, especially when you got a cool group of homies and have a
for
bunch of people
real.
out there just getting after it every day in the streets.
Who showed you guys around when you were in France?
Um, there was a few different people. I honestly can't remember. And I don't know. It's cool being on trips with Garrett. He's the type of guy who, even if people are trying to show him spots, he'd rather just go out and find it himself. So
Nice.
yeah, there's times on trips where we've gotten done riding and he'll drop us off at like 11 at the crib, and then we'll just go out and drive all night and find a ton of spots. And the next day he's like, all right, I found all this shit, and there's a whole list of spots on his
Damn,
phone.
Garrett, that's sick.
Incredible.
That's
Yeah, it's a side of it that not many people see. I think he's one of
yeah,
the
for
most,
real.
dedicated to finding spots and just dedicated to BMX in general, and it
S-
shows.
Straight up professional. Um, yeah, what's it like? Is he the like what's it? He owns Fiend, yes, and
Yeah, I believe he's a co
acting team manager, yes. I don't know
Pretty
what
much.
Yeah, just kind of does it all.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any one person that has, that title or anything, but yeah, him and Tony are the ones dealing with the team.
He's just keeping it like the feel of a group of homies, which is super sick. And so that's why I was bringing up earlier, like, do you click with the crew? You know, like that's more important than if you're really good. Can you kick it with all the guys on a trip? It sounds like
Yeah,
you can.
yeah. So I have a lot of fun with them, but I think it was definitely hard on them in the beginning because when they first got introduced to me, I was probably like 16, 17. Like I didn't know how to talk to people, especially like older men who
Yeah,
I
for real.
admire and respect. And I
Yeah,
was just quiet in general, don't have much to say.
yeah.
So I think it was hard on them because they probably didn't, they just like couldn't
There's
pick my brains enough to figure out what's going on. But
yeah, there's like who's this
yeah,
awkward quiet kid who can do all the tricks?
I don't know. Let's go find a spot, let him go. But don't know what else to
just
do with
point
this kid.
just point the camera at him, man. He does it. He does some good shit, and then he plays with this kendama. Um, yeah, I can relate. The being young and being on a trip with the older dudes is intimidating. And then I remember my first trip to the OSS house when I was like 20. I still felt 18 or 17 in my head, and I was real quiet and so awkward. And Adam actually called me out on it, like, Kanode, will you fucking talk? Get off your phone. And I'm like, I'm so scared. I'm so scared.
I'm so scared. But yeah, I don't think it took long for me to break out of my shell, but it
That's
was
dope.
definitely probably hard on them in the beginning.
It's
It's
kind of
fun.
wild to think about being 16 years old and getting hooked up and being on Fiend and going with your heroes around the world or just even on a local trip is kind of crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So
pretty surreal.
international trips is your favorite. Those are good. How about a specific moment, a clip that you had to work for that you were stoked on that like comes to mind immediately? What's the the best shit that you've what's your favorite clip that you've gotten for Fiend so far?
Hmm. To be honest, I'd say like probably 80% of the stuff I film for Fiend is still on Tony's computer. Uh, we're sitting on stuff that's at least 4 or 5 years old at this point,
I'm so
and
excited for that. I heard that there's
I
a
honestly
Fiend
can't
video
even.
coming out.
Maybe, who knows?
Yeah, maybe.
Might have to wait another 3 years. No, I'm just playing. Um, but yeah,
Hi,
it's hard to
Tony.
say. Most of it is all stuff that is yet to be put out. But I don't know. There's one that comes to mind, I guess, and it's just Spain footage. Probably, I just love the atmosphere of Europe footage. And
Yeah.
there was one spot or one clip where I did like a rail that went down flat and down again, and I went down flat and then did double bar spin down like
Oh
an eight
yeah.
stair to flat.
Yeah.
And
I remember that clip.
I don't know. It's the first thing that comes to mind. Just super cool being in Spain. There's like little kids all around the spot yelling, and there's crowds of people out watching. We had like Simone showing around us that day, and
Sick.
I don't know. It's just such a cool time.
We love Simone.
Absolutely.
And yeah, I remember that clip specifically. That's an incredible clip. Dude, I don't understand how you do the double bars. How early were you learning double bar spins? Because it seems like you've just been this good forever. But like what was your like early years of riding? Like you said that you watched Garrett's props bio and you wanted to learn all that shit. And then what happens? You go out to the skate park. You are you in Washington State growing up? And yeah, how did you get good at bikes? What's your general young story?
Yeah. I grew up in Kennewick, Washington. It's just a little town with not much going on at all, not many spots, a couple skate parks, but I didn't start going to those until I was already starting to do tricks more. It really just started with me cruising around town with my homies and realizing that you can bunny hop around. And then I got exposed to BMX videos and I was like, oh shit, this is really cool. And started just doing tricks with my brother and my homies. And I think the real turning point where I was like, yeah, this is something I want to do. BMX is sick. I can do this was probably Garrett's deadline part. I think that was like 2012. So I was probably like 13 or some shit.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. I remember locking myself away and downstairs and watching that for the first time. And then me just being like, oh my God, I can do this. And just ran out of the house and just started grinding for tricks. And so,
Hell yeah.
yeah, I think I've always followed the blueprint of just innovative, technical, progressive riding. I always looked up to that and I always, you know, saw that as the blueprint and tried to copy it.
Well, you're
And
creating the blueprint now. Like some of the shit you're doing is
thank
definitely
you.
pushing the limit. It's fucking awesome.
I'm always trying to,
what was some of the first early tricks that you learned? Like what came first?
um, the typical ones, 180s. And then I was always attracted to bar spins. I think it probably shows, but yeah, bar spins, silly shit like no handers and 360s. But I found an old clip a while ago, which is pretty funny. You brought up double bars, and there's this like little bleacher set up in the grass right next to the school where I was from, and this is filmed on like some shitty old like VHS camera.
Yeah.
And yeah, I hopped on that thing and did like the sketchiest double bar and did the craziest landing.
But
But
you
yeah,
did
it
a
was
double bar at like 13 years old?
no, not 13. I was probably like 14, 15. But it's hilarious. Like I
Still.
didn't. It's cool to watch that shit back and like, oh wow, I was really doing double bars at the time.
Yeah, that's
And
unreal.
it's just one of those tricks I always wanted to get good at. I always thought it was super cool, and always wanted to be like the double bar guy. But I
Yeah.
think I turned into more of like the crank flip guy or some shit at this point.
Nah, you're not in a box, dude. Everybody knows you can do pretty much anything. You're at that level where I've said this before, but like riders learn all the tricks, but then you get to become like an artist and choose what trick to do on what spot. Like you can do pretty much everything, but it's like now it's to the point where you get to see a spot and like use your talent to like use the spot and throw in a couple tricks and push the envelope of like what's possible and technical, and it's fucking sick to watch, man. I love it. Love your writing.
Thank you.
Have been a big fan since you were 16, so I guess it's been 7-8 years now at this point.
That's cool to hear. And yeah, I think everyone has their own little lane in writing, what they're naturally good at. And
Hmm.
I think that's just like my writing kind of shows how my mind works. I'm always trying to think of the most complex puzzle I can solve.
Sick.
And yeah, it kind of shows in the technical writing I do. Um,
What's the latest challenge that you've had, or like challenge that you've imposed on yourself to learn? Because I imagine you stay progressing. What's the latest trick that you got dialed in or learned better? What was the last thing
um,
that you were like, I want to learn this?
I was just messing around on the fly rail today, and I've just been trying to learn crank arm grinds pretty much. And I was just hanging out with Trent Lutzke, who's super good at the tooth crank
So
180.
good. Yeah.
So I've been doing that one a lot. And I was trying to do, tooth crank 180, fakie crook Indian. And
Oh,
shout out to Donachie. He did that on a street rail to cab bar years ago, which is just
yeah.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I've always been mindful by that trick. So once I started figuring out tooth crank 180, I was like, I need to figure out how to get into that. It seems
Sick.
impossible.
Did you
But
land one
in
yet?
terms of not with the cab bar, but yeah, did the crook
Good.
and then cabbed out.
Sick. Good
But
for
in
you.
terms of like clip things that I've filmed, definitely that 180 Smith nose cab bar spin in the little Odyssey video that just came out.
Yes.
That was one that was extremely difficult. That probably took me the longest.
Hell
It's
yeah.
always funny because that's like the 3 second clip that most people could probably just glance over and not know what's going on.
Right.
But
Yeah.
yeah, that was
It's funny how that
difficult.
works, dude. Nobody really knows like how much, especially the general public, dude. Like I'm trying to explain. I remember explaining like filming a full length video to, my mom or a school teacher and trying to explain like, well, why isn't it done? You could just go shoot. And then it's only an hour long video, right? And I was like, you don't understand what goes into 3 seconds. Like it's
Right.
you're hopping fences and traveling or going from spot to spot. And then the clip is only, 2 or 3 seconds long and you have to fill up an hour and it's unbelievably like tedious. So
Yeah.
I actually, when I was reading the description, it said it took 2 months in Austin filming this part. And how did it, that's what it is, dude. So like it felt like a Zach Kramus video. And then I saw that Trent filmed it and I was like, damn, Trent, you filmed the shit out of that. And like had a good vibe. It's that everything makes sense now that I'm looking at the description. Let's go ahead and watch it together, dude. Why
All right.
not?
All right. Yeah, it was a lot of fun working with Trent. We did an ends trip last year, and I think that was my first time being able to work with him.
He's
And
the shit.
yeah, it was really fun. I never get to like film with anyone who's like my age either. So I don't know,
Yeah,
it's
he
pretty
is
fun.
he is
Just
a
a new
young buck
experience.
too, huh? He's 24, 23, whatever.
I have no idea.
All right, let's get in it. I'm not going to have music so that we can be clear, but it's a beautiful horn song that Zach Kramus put in there. What was the process for finding the music for this? Was it you just leave it up to Kramus, or did you have input?
Yeah, I should have had more input. I have such a hard time picking music. And I'm always super picky on like what I do choose to send. But he sent me a rough draft with this song. I was like, oh yeah, that actually works pretty well. And yeah, it was like the first song that he suggested was the one we ended up using.
Sick.
We tried a few
Yeah.
different other ones, but this is the one that stuck. It's pretty cool. It happened
That's
pretty
usually how it
organically.
goes. Yeah, like your first gut instinct is usually right. All right.
Right.
So sorry if you guys are watching and it's choppy playback, it's Zoom. We'll figure out better technology in the future. Leave a comment if you know how to do it better. Here we go.
So yeah, we've ended up filming almost like 2.5 minutes of stuff, and this is obviously a minute, but
Yeah,
there's probably like
where's the other stuff?
I think they're um thinking about doing a mixtape or something down the line.
Oh, okay,
So we'll
sick.
have quite a bit of other things to use, but we just wanted to use the best stuff we could and have a quick minute that
Yeah, I
was
love
good and
that.
went by fast.
It it goes by fast and then it's also like slow because you're focused so hard on it at the same time. All right. And dude, I forget I keep calling you the Pajama Panther on Instagram. Dude.
I'll take it. I
Your
like it.
style is fantastic, man. All right.
Hell yeah. Shout out to Gecko Hawaii. They make these cool beach pants.
Gecko Hawaii, dude. All
If you're
right.
looking for
So
thin pants, I can take a beating. Check them out.
that's the thing. Like it seems like you're pretty vulnerable when you're wearing these pants. Like shinners must hurt like a son of a bitch. But yeah, fuck it. You're rocking it.
I mean, I got a secret. I wear pads. I got a shitty kneecap. I'm afraid it's gonna explode in half one of these days. It's already got chunks taken out of it. It's
That's
inevitable
smart.
that one day it's gonna shatter, but I try to protect it.
I think it's smart to wear pads. I low key don't tell anybody, but I also wear pads, and I'm starting to wear a helmet too. Shit, I'm
Good
getting
option. Good option. Smart
yeah.
guy.
Low key, my girlfriend got hit by a car when she was riding
Oh
a
my
bike
god.
when she was younger, and so she's traumatized. And she's like, "Please wear a helmet." And then I started to argue it. I was like, I'm not gonna wear a helmet. I never have, and blah blah blah. And the more I was arguing, I was like, there's really no like solid argument against wearing a helmet. It's just like
Yeah.
put it on.
It
My
is hard
only
to argue.
excuse was like my head is huge and legit, no helmet fits me, but I found one that fits, and we got to start rocking it. Anyway,
There you
back
go.
back to you and your pants doing this wall ride to bar spin to X up ride to 180 crank flip, dude. What the fuck? Oh, it's a lot. All right.
This was my first switch up I ever filmed in the streets. I've always been pretty bad at switch ups, but it feels pretty damn good to be able to actually film it in the streets.
That was fire. And it's what a crazy setup. That's like not a light rail to be going up. How many stairs? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, you're going up like a 16 stair rail.
It works pretty well. There's a good run up.
Dude,
And I mean,
Trent filmed
typically,
that really well. Go on.
yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't know. Typically, I don't like to film tricks that people have seen before. Obviously, there's been a million pegs, switch whips, and pegs down whips and shit, but it just felt good to me because I never actually filmed in the streets before.
Yeah, hell yeah. You
Break my
gotta
code.
break your code. You're like, I pretty much only do NBDs, but I'll let it slide for this 16 stair up rail to opposite tail.
That's the goal.
Your standards are that high to where this is a clip that you're not that stoked on. That's funny. Oh man. And there it is. Wait. No, is that the one that you were talking about? No, what did
I'm
we
not
just
sure.
talk about? 180 Smith cab nose. Oh yeah, 180 Smith nose cab bar
Mm-mm.
is the one you were talking about. How
Yeah, I've
long
been
how
trying
long did
that
this
one.
take? This is pretty tech.
This happened really quickly, actually. I love the Smith Nose 180 bar. That's one of my favorite ledge tricks to do in general. And I've been trying to find a spot to do the fakie manual, and this one was just high enough to where it plopped you right in position and
That's
happened way quicker than I thought it was going to,
that's what's up.
which is always refreshing because a lot of the tricks I try take way too long.
Right. Yeah. I I mean, I'm not on your level of riding, but the tricks that I film usually take me a long time too. And so like most of the time I want to go out with the filmer literally by myself, just one on one, and then put in the work. Like I kind of shy away from trying shit in front of people. But
Yeah, I'm the same
it's
way. I
it's
feel like I'm a headache to film.
yeah, I'm constantly like, I'm sorry, I'm taking so long. But then like knowing it from the other side of being the filmer and having a rider apologize, I'm like, dude, shut up, you're fine. You don't need to say sorry. Like just keep
Right.
going. You got this. It's a
Feel
mind
that.
fuck either way. So that's a great clip.
This one was super
Shoosh.
fun. I
Yeah,
love sea ledges in general.
yeah. What a combo. It's kind of you've been practicing your skate park. I know your local has a sea ledge just like this, huh?
Pretty similar, yeah.
Yeah. Boom, dude.
I love the nose 180 bars. It's always a fun one.
They look amazing and very difficult. Well, you make them look easy, but oof.
That one was super satisfying. I had to do it twice. We initially filmed it at night the day before, and it ended up being too dark. So I had to go back the next morning, and it was the day of the deadline where we had to submit all this footage to Odyssey. And so we're
Damn.
at the early mission trying to recreate this one.
That
And
sucks that it didn't work out with the nighttime footage. It's too dark.
this one looked better anyway. It's all good. I did it cleaner this time. But I always Love these 180 bar crook combinations. It's always hard
Yeah.
trying to find one of these that Garrett hasn't already done. It's always fun trying to play with the trick and be like,
I
I don't know,
think
he's
this
probably done this
might
before,
be,
but he might not put it up.
yeah, maybe I haven't seen this trick ever. And it's like a nollie to over pegs and
Yeah,
then cab opposite bar spinning the wrong way for that. So good, dude. I love it.
thanks. Shout
And
out to
then
Julian Artiega. Back in the day, he did like a crook nollie to feeble 180 on an out rail type setup. And
okay,
that shit always
yeah.
blew my mind. So I don't know. It's a little easier to do crook nollie pegs. And yeah, eventually I figured I could do a fakie.
That's
And
dope.
turned into that.
It's something it's subtle because like when you watch the video, you're just going through it full speed. You don't really realize like it's a nollie. Maybe you do. You gotta have a keen eye. Your writing is so tech that you can just watch the clips over and over again. I think I already told you that. Anyway,
I know. I
so we
almost feel
got
bad sometimes. I
barspin,
feel like
crook.
I'm a hard person to appreciate if you're like a casual BMX watcher. Probably
Yeah,
doesn't
like the layman is
translate, but
just like, oh, neat. He did a trick and then a rail. Like they don't
right.
appreciate. I feel that way with skateboarding. Like I feel ignorant seeing some super tech skating, and I'm just like, yeah, it looks kind of all the same to me, but like, people know. So, did you have to work for this one?
Oh
God.
yeah, this one took me quite a long time, and this is one of those of an example where my standards are just super high. I don't think I've ever seen anyone do bar switch crook in the streets before, and yeah, I ended up doing like bar switch crook 180 a ton of times. Randomly did bar switch crook 180 bar one of the times, but I love trying to take something that no one's ever done before and then adding another layer on top of it. It's
Shoo.
like someone's gonna catch the bar crook tricks, but you're gonna have to tail up out if you want
And honestly, like the way you landed it, where it's like clearly difficult, and you swerve right away, it makes it so much better.
to.
Like you landing it like this makes it so much better than if you like landed, textbook perfectly without the swerve. Like,
Right.
oh, it's so good, dude.
But yeah,
That
that was a
is,
satisfying one. Just doing the bar switch crook is super scary. And you can tell I did it on like the very last chunk of the rail, so I didn't get in it and then slip out. And so it
yeah.
was like immediately as soon as I felt the pegs on it, starting the tail whip.
Sheesh. Can't even relate in the least bit. Never even done a switch crook. Okay, here it is. This is the one. Boom.
Yeah, that one was super, super gratifying. But I don't know. I take pride in my patience trying this shit. And if I get mad at the trick, then it's like I already feel like I lost. And unfortunately, this is one of them where I got mad. I was ready to throw my bike and shit. I'm not proud of, but
Very rare, but it happens to the best of us. Do you think I love that idea of like being able to try something for a long time without getting mad and just controlling and staying focused. Do you think your kendama career has helped with that
absolutely.
mentality?
Yeah. I mean, it's easy to get mad at your bike. I mean, you're on this metal object, you're flying through space doing crazy shit, and it hurts, and it's full of fear and pain. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's easy to get mad at it, and it's like this is my job. So yeah, obviously it's like, oh, I gotta earn my paycheck. I gotta do this crazy shit that I don't want to do. This is so hard. But then, but yeah, it's like how are you gonna get mad at a piece of wood?
Yeah.
And I'm the same way. I love doing the hardest possible thing I could try, and
Yep.
then landing it back into like a super hard stall balance, kind of trick.
Yeah.
And yeah, you look like a fucking dork if you're throwing a kendama getting all pissed off, and it just like it translates. Yeah, little baby throwing a tantrum. Fuck this
That's
piece of wood.
that's part of the kendama like allure, I think, is just how frustrating it is. It looks fun when you see somebody doing it really well, and then you try it and you can't even get it on the stick once, and you're like, you got to start practicing breathing and just patience and doing the
Right.
same thing over and over again and getting it dialed. Like learning kendama was very fun and pretty rewarding part of the old life. I don't do it that much anymore, but that's dope. So tell me about this. Why is this hard? I mean, that's like sounds stupid question, but explain, you know, why this is a difficult trick.
Yeah, so the nollie half cab bar in general is just like super difficult, and I believe I was one of the first people to ever do that one as well. I want to say I was the first, but I don't know. Somebody might have done it first before me. But yeah, it's one of those things where you come up with something new, then you want to just add layers and layers on top of it.
Yeah.
And this is one of those tricks that I knew was possible, but just super confusing to try. Uh, Obviously, you have to get in the right spin into the 180 or the right 180 into the Smith. As soon as you're in it, you have to spot your front wheel and be like turning your wheel at the same time to make sure you get the nollie cab. and
Yikes.
then
Yeah.
somehow you have to like pop off of the nollie to get space for the bars while still spinning all the way around to land properly. And it's just super confusing because you feel like you're throwing your bar spin and you have no time in the air at all. It feels like there's no
Yeah.
pop at all. You
Yeah.
kind of just have to throw it before you know if you're in the right spot or not, which is never a good feeling. It always feels like you're going to die. But
Yeah, you're not really like you're using the momentum from the 180 into the Smith, it feels like, or like from the pulling up, you're just using that momentum. There's no extra pop from like going into the nose bonk, and then you're right. It's just falling off of the ledge and throwing the bars. So you said that took like 3 hours?
not 3 hours, no, but it was, yeah, probably at least an hour. Yeah. But yeah, I
Worth
don't
it.
know. The one just got me pissed off. I hate it. It irks me to this day that I got mad at it, but whatever. That's what happens when you try new shit. It
How's
happens.
this man's doing? Jared Duncan.
Jared, I think
Yeah.
he's doing great. He's still shredding. He can do every trick in the world on the fly out. It's pretty fun riding house park with him.
He has such a unique style, dude. I love watching him ride. And
Absolutely.
who else is
Likewise.
here in the background?
Bunch of boys. I don't know. Matt Nordstrom pulled up at one point. Had a bunch of Austin locals. All
Sick.
kinds of people were coming through. Hard to remember. There's always a fun squad when we're out pedaling downtown out there.
This is a lot.
Yeah, this was a confusing one. I initially was just playing with like 180 Smith cab bar to manual. And then I was like, oh man, I think I can land an X up. I think I got to try that shit. And then
That makes sense if you're messing up and you're landing in manual, but you have time to set it down. Okay, that's sick. And then how do you
yeah,
decide what trick to do out of the X-up ride?
initially I did a 360 and then I was just looking back like, I got to tail up out of it. I have to. And yeah, that was a really weird one because I never tried to X up whip off of a drop before. And obviously it's not like a big drop or anything, but it's just a weird trick. And I'm not used to having time when I do it. It's usually like, you unlock the X up and spin it immediately as quick as you can.
Yeah.
And it's just weird having a drop. And it was slightly downhill. So yeah, it's just a confusing one. That one took a minute.
Fucking impressive, man.
And you can tell the whip is like on a weird axis as well. It doesn't look like a normal tail whip.
Tell me the story behind this clip.
I think this is at five hip. Yeah, I don't know. One of the first days we were there.
Fighting stance. You want these
yep.
hands, bro?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Speaking of which, I've been doing mixed martial arts with my older brother for almost like 3 years now.
Sick.
He converted his garage into a little dojo, and yeah, in there every weekend doing drills. We're doing jiu-jitsu. We're doing wrestling. We're doing Muay Thai, MMA.
Sick.
All that shit.
Good for you, man.
Yeah, it's
You're doing everything. Kendama, jiu-jitsu, and BMX are all extremely difficult disciplines to get good at. You said you've been doing MMA for 3 years?
Around then, yeah. And it's really just been us training together. Obviously, we're not like doing super high level shit, but we take it seriously. We study fights all the time, and yeah, we're in there taking it seriously.
You said it's you and your brother?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. We're pretty much just teaching
each other. Are you the
other.
older brother or the younger brother?
I'm the youngest, and yeah, he's probably like 3-4 years older than me.
How many siblings you got?
I got 2.
Nice.
2 older brothers.
What's it like being the youngest out of the squad? And what do they do? Are they looking at you like, man, Johnny's better than us at everything? Little whiz kid.
No,
I'm just kidding.
I don't know. Being the fucking thing everyone takes their anger out on. Just being bullied constantly as a child. Yeah, absolutely. And that's probably why I was so quiet as a kid. And the first time I was around Garrett Unlimited, just like didn't know how to talk in general.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely driven me a lot to, really become something nice.
That's dope.
It's
interesting.
Just kidding.
Fuck you, no, you bully bros.
Yeah, the one I train MMA with is, probably my best friend.
That's awesome.
And that training together really changes our relationship a lot. And it's cool to be, in the gym, pounding on the person that, bullied you your entire life.
Yes,
and
for
we do it with, love and respect. We're in there just getting better, sharpening our tools. And
that's great.
Yeah, it's a funny kind of full circle healing when I'm, on his back and he can't get up or some shit. He's exhausted or something.
You're getting flashbacks to like being 5 years old and getting beat up unofficially, and now you're taking your revenge out.
Hilarious. No, it's all fun in there. But I don't know. It's fun to see how the styles clash. He's a little bit taller. He's a little bit thinner. But he's real lean. And I don't know. Our fighting styles are different. He's got super strong hands, really good kicks. He's real good off his back with his chokes. But I would say I probably have the better gas tank. That's probably like my only real advantage.
Yeah. And those hands. And you got the hands, dude.
Yeah.
It's the interesting thing about
core strength in BMX.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. Core strength from BMX and just being
Yeah,
out there. That what I was gonna say is the interesting thing about jujitsu is you could be a tiny, scrawny dude, and as long as you know the moves, like you can take down a big guy with that. You know, it's all just knowing the moves, knowing what's happening. I That's one
yeah,
thing that I'd
absolutely.
like to get into, but haven't taken the time to get started with jujitsu.
Yeah, I'd highly suggest it. I think martial arts are super important for everyone to try, regardless of who you are. But
Yeah,
it's no kind of it's a different kind of discipline, and it's so primal. Like it feels so right when you're learn how to defend yourself, and when you sync up a choke on somebody and they can't get out.
I
It's,
believe that.
a
Yeah,
special kind of human feeling that you can't get any other way.
for real. Primal. It's kind of like, I don't know, it probably taps into the same things as like cooking. Like cooking feels primal, or sitting by a
Hmm.
fire feels like you're tapping into like your ancestral shit. And so I'm sure like combat is definitely ingrained in our DNA. Um,
100%.
I had a question. It was gonna be, it was, oh, were you ever in fights in school? Like, yeah, were you ever in a fight
um,
just growing up?
Not a lot. No, the only real one I would say I had was probably at the skate park one time. It was pretty funny. I was a teenager for sure, and there was just this drunk dude at the park who was messing with everyone all night. And eventually, I don't know. One of us was like, "Get out of here, you fucking lurker!" He's like, "I'm not a lurker," and goes and grabs his bike and like, throws it in our direction and hits me. So like, whatever, someone's got to do it.
Yeah.
I run over and I throw a punch. I'm pretty sure I land one. He lands one. I land another. And then he kind of like turns his back a little bit and like stumbles down a bank and tries to run away. And one of my big homies starts chasing after him and chases him up a bank and like gets an arm around his waist. And as he's getting his waist, he's almost like tripping. So he turns that into like a suplex and straight up like
Damn.
belly to back suplexes this dude in his head and like knocks him unconscious on the skate
Oh
park floor.
shit. Shouldn't have
It's fucking
fucked with the
wild.
boys, dude.
Yeah. Fuck
There's
around and find
always
out.
some characters at skate parks like late at night, especially sketchy areas, like a just drunk dude comes in and starts talking shit. There's so many skate park fight clips that I've seen online.
Yeah.
Well,
You always get some weird characters. And
you've
yeah,
been
tip for
in,
everyone: don't ever fight anyone when they got six friends right next to them.
yeah, 100%.
Bad option.
I suppose the dude was pretty wasted and didn't really consider his
No,
odds.
it was
Just
pretty bad too. As soon as that happened, we're all like, all right, well, we need to leave. And we're all
yeah.
packing our shit up. And this dude comes the life again and is walking over and still talking shit. And one of his friends who was there initially with him hanging out was like trying to restrain him. And
Yeah, like,
then
dude,
the dude
stop
keeps
it.
talking shit. And then I remember it's like the most hilarious cartoonish slow motion punch ever. This dude's like, I got a sleeper right here. They keep going back and forth. And all of a sudden it's just the slowest overhand right you've ever seen in your life. And it just connects so perfectly and puts him out again. It's
Shit.
unbelievable. Bad night for that guy.
Yeah, dude.
Hope he's doing okay.
Being wasted will do that to you. We had during filming Lightworks, there was a we were filming at a spot that was like out back of a sports bar, and it was 2 in the morning or 1 in the morning, whatever. And a drunk dude just kept like encroaching on us and talking shit and calling us out. And then we ended up like it was me and 5 people, and I forget who we didn't even kick his ass. We just picked him up. Like we physically restrained him because he was so drunk. He was just all over the place. And we just picked him up and we went over to a dumpster that had like a bunch of cardboard in it and just gently laid him in the trash and left him there. Like sleep it off, buddy. It was wild.
That's respectable. Good
Yeah.
job. That's
It's
funny.
somebody was carrying him and I went over because like you could, if you throw somebody in an empty dumpster you could fuck them up. So I went over and made sure that it was like safe, because it's a weird balance of like, okay, fuck this guy, but also we don't need to like severely hurt him. So
100%.
we put him in a dumpster, and then I'm sure he woke up the next morning like, wait, was I in a dumpster last night, dude? But yeah,
I think that'd teach you a lesson.
for real.
Oh,
You've been in more fights than I have. I've never been in a fight in my life. That's which is why I want to do jujitsu, because if something comes up and like I got to protect somebody, or
mhm.
protect myself, I would like to know. Um,
Yeah, I think it's vital to know, especially just everyday scenarios. You're out with a girl, you're on a date, and
yeah,
you never know what's going to pop off. And if you've never been in that scenario, you're going to have a slight little bit of fear or some shit in that. And
100%.
that can be detrimental.
I have
And
no
just knowing
idea
that you know
what
how to
my fight
defend
or flight will
yourself,
be.
or yeah, and you hone that in the gym when you're training. So it's really cool and it's really powerful to know that you can defend your loved ones. You can defend yourself.
Yeah,
You can put it on someone if you need to, or obviously I can defend myself and just get someone on the ground and put them in a position where they can't get up.
that's so dope.
Then what are you gonna do?
How did it start for you? Was it just with your brother, or did you like go to a gym and take a class to start? Like, what should I do? Well, I think I should go to a proper gym and get, I don't know. What do you do to get into jujitsu?
I mean, I would suggest, yeah, going to a gym, but I personally never did. It was literally just me and my brother being fans of MMA and being curious, and just wanted to figure it out ourselves. And got a pair of gloves, we got a pair of pads. We just started learning how to throw punches, started learning to combos, started learning
Sick.
kicks, started playing with wrestling, started doing jiu-jitsu, mixing it all together. And yeah, I don't know. For us, the formula was find a homie who's just as down as you are, start learning, start figuring stuff out, start studying fights.
Dude,
But
that's awesome.
yeah, for the average person, I would say, yeah, just go to a gym. Obviously, it's hard to find a homie like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's usually a gym in every city. I have never been to one personally, and I have been wanting to. But
Never been. That's wild.
it's just me
Yeah.
and my brother honing shit together.
Yeah, you
It's just
built
funny.
your own. You'll probably own one in the future and you've never been to one. That's fire.
That'd be awesome. But yeah, it can be intimidating, obviously, going and rolling with a bunch of people. So I'm excited to break the ice, and I got a couple tools of my own going in there now. So it's not like I'm just going in there not knowing anything. So
That's
it should
dope.
be fun.
Well, bring your gi. Do you have a gi?
No, we do like no gi stuff, but we just wear like rash guards, stuff to where we don't, scuff each other up like crazy.
Yeah.
Uh,
What's the
you can see my
biggest?
neck's all scraped up from
Oh yeah, look
training.
at that.
Yeah,
From being in
fighting
a
off rear
headlock
naked
or what?
chokes. Yeah,
Yeah.
you know it.
Shit. Well, speaking of getting into stuff, let's talk about the kendama journey because
Yeah,
you're incredible at that. How did you start? Was it because of Reed Stark?
yeah,
Because
you know
that's
it.
yeah, me too. Reed
Hell
is
yeah,
the kendama lord, and he
absolutely.
blessed everybody. What's
They say Kanama connects worlds, and Reed is absolutely leading the charge of doing that. Just put on a whole
100%?
sport, whole action sport, fucking community in general onto it. It's pretty incredible.
It is. So were you just hooked from the beginning? Like, tell me about
Yeah, it was another one of those things that's pretty surreal when you look at it full circle. Garrett was the first BMX video I ever saw, and now he's my boss, one of my good friends. And then in the same way, I was in Simple Session in Estonia. I think it was 2019, and yeah, Reed Stark was there, and Cooper Eddy, who's a professional kendama player, who's from Washington as well.
yeah.
But they were both there, and they gave me my first dama, and yeah, I just fell in love with the learning process. It's very similar to BMX, except it's without all the pain and fear and all that.
Dude,
So
the
obviously,
pain of BMX is so
yeah.
real.
So it's a similar learning process. It doesn't
Yeah.
mean as much, obviously, because you don't have the danger and fear involved. So it's not like you get that crazy high, but
Yeah,
it's just the same learning process. It's the same way to figure out all the tricks. So it's
that's
super
true.
addicting.
When he first showed it to you, did he do the thing where you spin the ball and then help you get it on the spike?
I'm sure, yeah.
Yeah, it's so good. Like you can take a random stranger, spin the ball, and then tell them to pull it up and land it on the spike. And since it's spinning, the hole stays on the bottom, and it's easy. And you go, yeah,
Yeah,
and everybody gets stoked. Like
I love it.
that's a magical moment when you like get somebody in. They're like, oh, I get it now. Like that felt so good.
Absolutely. It's such a fun part of Kendama, always showing people their first spike and showing them that it's possible. Because so many of them like, what? Get on the spike? That's impossible. What do you mean?
Yeah,
And then
for
they get
real.
their minds blown because they do something that they didn't think was possible.
Yep,
And it's pretty
exactly.
cool. Kendama is so small. It's almost like we're like ambassadors of the sport almost. It's like a duty for us to, anytime someone gets curious about it, be like, oh yeah, you want to try?
Yeah.
And yeah, showing people how to play and give them the first spike is a great feeling. It's cool to spread the joy.
And I'm super grateful you sent me one of these when they came out, and
Yes, sir.
very appreciative of that.
Of
It's in
course.
the other room. Let's I mean, how does one get a, signature kendama that's so dope? And did you design it? Did you like help design it? What's Sweets like? Have you been to their headquarters? Tell me about all that.
I haven't been to the headquarters yet. I'm excited to though. It looks like a really cool facility, and I don't know. It's just one of those things where I really I knew the right people, and I don't know. Reed, because Reed has seen how into kendama I am. He sees how seriously I take it. He sees how uh, how much fun I have with it, and
Dedicated. Yeah.
so yeah, they offered to give me my own, and they gave me pretty much complete creative freedom to do what I wanted with it, which was pretty incredible. And I went with sacred geometry as like the main theme, and
Love that.
Yeah, I had a ton of fun designing it. It's kind of hard to decide on what to do because there's so many different ways you can go about it.
Yeah,
But
for real.
I picked some colors I thought looked good: white and gold and black, some exposed
Classic.
wood.
Can't go wrong. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was kind of worried that I was asking for too much because I put a ton of engravings on the can. Um, and just had, yeah, I don't know, a bunch of ideas, and they were very gracious and let me do whatever I wanted with it, pretty much.
That's sick. How much are
Yeah,
they and how can people get them?
yeah. I think they have two different paint finishes. This one's like a sticky clear. This one's a cushion clear, just like a soft rubbery type. This one's like $60, I believe, and this one's 40, I want to say.
So
And
do the pros use the
sweetskendamas.com.
$60 one? Is that the soft?
I think
Soft
it's
is
just
better?
preference.
Okay,
It's
just
just
preference.
preference, really. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're different in their own right, but
And I
they're
interrupted
both
what
fun.
you said, sweetskendamas.com.
Sweetskendamas.com. That's where to find them. And they
Dope.
just restocked this one. They sell out pretty fast. If you want one, hop on now.
Hell
It ain't
yeah.
gonna last long.
Is there a Johnny promo code or no?
Not that I know of now,
Okay.
but
Word.
it directly helps me, and it helps me a lot. And it provided me a flight to Austin, which I
True,
brought you
yeah.
that video. So if you want to see more
Yeah.
footy, keep buying them.
Support Johnny by a kendama. That's dope,
Yes,
dude.
sir.
And something clicked when you just said that because you said engravings on the ken. And I was like, hold on. Is that what kendama means? Ken stick and ball is ken stick and dama is ball?
Yeah, the ball is tama in Japanese, and ken in Japanese is sword. So it's like ball and sword toy.
Huh. Dope. That's fucking
Yeah,
awesome. For something so simple, the possibilities are like seemingly endless. When I was getting into it and just learning simple, the bird was a very
right.
hard thing to learn. But like when you look at pros, it's like, oh my God, like this, like you watch Google, what's something that what's a trick that somebody could search on YouTube and they'd be like, if they're just getting into kendama, what do they search on YouTube? And like, yeah, what's your most mind blowing shit that you've seen?
The first thing coming to mind is a trick called a tightrope. Shout out Cooper Eddy. He's one of the first people to, make variations of them. And he's the guy I was talking about who's from Washington. Um, it's a trick where you start off with like your finger pinching the string and your hand holding the ball. And then they swing the Ken up and balance the spike on the string. And will literally, with no hands, be balancing it on there. And then they'll like find a way to juggle it off and spike it. I
Unbelievable.
do not understand it in the slightest.
Have you tried
It's
it?
incredible. People, yeah, fakely, and you could like
Yeah.
fakely tap it on the right spot and be like, oh wow. But yeah,
Yeah. To
unbelievably
hold it
difficult. It seems
there
like
seems unreal.
incredible, and it's so funny. It's so fun learning kendama tricks and thinking like, oh, I might be onto something new here. I wonder if people ever do this. But then you go on Instagram, see like some 13-year-old girl do like 13 more layers added onto the thing you thought was new. It's so humbling. It's so cool to see.
Yeah, it is infinitely possible. Like, and with I think it's so interesting how with the internet and Instagram and YouTube, like just beginning something, you can see what's possible. Like the fact that you're so good has a lot to do with the fact that the internet came around and you got to see Garrett Reynolds like when you were young and like fresh, your brain's like learning everything, and you got dedicated and you saw what was possible, and then you're even taking that further, and now people are going to see what you can do, and they're 12 years old, and then they're like that one young, I think he's Japanese kid,
Yeah, Sasuke.
yeah, he's so
Hayata
good,
Sasuke.
and he's however many years old, and he's like already doing like swaggy full cab bars and like half cabs down big sets and stuff, and it's
Right.
just like, dude, the future is gonna be so sick.
Ice hard with navies on ledges and shit. I can't
Yeah,
even do
dude.
that. It's incredible.
Ice hard when A's you can't do, huh? So you are human. So you're not a robot. What other shit can't you do that you wish you could?
I mean, crank arms are always a big one, but I've been slowly chipping away at those.
Are you doing them where you're only on the crank arm? Or are you locking in with the pedal like
I think there's a little
Ethan?
bit of a lock in there. It's like a pedal crank pinch
Yeah.
somewhere in there.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Once I realized that tooth crank 180s were fun as hell, I stopped kind of going straight with the crank arms and started doing those.
Sick.
So I don't
Do you
know.
think
That's one I got to chip away at more.
You think tooth crank is easier than just straight crank?
For me, yeah. But it just works so well, like pops you out with the 180 so well that
Yeah.
it just seems so natural.
How
With the crank,
about
there's just like a lot of mess ups you can do and get caught up really
it's
easily.
such a small balance point that it's pretty spooky. Like Ethan
Yeah.
makes it look just casual and fun, and it's just like, what? That balance point is tiny.
it's so fun riding with him because he'll, approach a rail and he's not gonna, for us, we're like, oh, that's a cool rail. Maybe I'll double peg it.
Yeah.
Like his crank arm is like his double peg. Like he
It's
would
so
rather probably crank
crazy.
arm a
Yeah.
rail double peg, I would think.
It's
So it seems like on
unreal.
the outside at least.
And he's
Must be
just
nice.
mastered bailing it. Like I watched him, I've seen him do a couple in person down some decent rails, and I'm like, dude, that's unbelievable. And he just gets out of it like nobody's business. Um,
Crazy.
what other tricks are you working on there that you can't do?
Hmm. I'm not very good at nose manuals. I do so many nose bong tricks, but like I can't hold a nose manual to save my life for more than like 10 feet probably.
That's a tough one, dude. They
It's very
people
tough, yeah.
like
I
everybody
know you
makes it
got
look so easy.
them.
I had them, but then if you stop doing them every day, they go away. If I
Yeah.
I get locked into a nose manual mode. Like if I'm gonna go ride, I was just at the skate park a couple of weeks ago, or I don't know how long ago, and I'm messing around, riding everything, doing 180s, jibbing around manuals, and then I'm cautious nowadays of getting locked into this like nose manual like black hole, because then all of a sudden everything disappears from around and I'm just going in a circle trying to nose manual a pad and it just never
100%.
ends, dude. It's probably the most addicting trick that because the feeling of like locking into a good one and holding it is so good because it's like, oh yeah,
Right.
it's another one of those
It's
balance points.
such a delicate balance point. It feels so surreal anytime it works.
You see Courage's 180 bar spin to
Silly.
fakie nose manual all the way around, like
So crazy. It's
silly is right, dude. It doesn't even seem real. Have you gotten a ride with
incredible.
him?
I think I think we wrote a contest one time. I think we wrote Symbol Session, but I don't know if I've ever really got to just like kick it and have a session, jib around.
Yeah,
He's one of my favorites to watch though. I
he's
can't
fuck.
understand the nose manual shit, so to see someone do it backwards like that with a bar spin is just
Yeah, dude.
amazing.
Like just doing it, if even if you just 180'd and then lift it up into it, it's still super impressive.
For
But to
sure.
180 bar and land in it and then keep, that's the other thing is like the trend, or not the trend, but the a lot of people, I think Chad was one of the first people I saw doing it, but just to half cab into a manual and keep it straight is so fucking difficult. Like I don't understand the like physics behind it. And people are taking that to the next level. You got those where you can half cab and go into a straight manual?
Kinda. If I worked hard enough for it, I'm sure, yeah.
It's
But I
such a
mean, there's people out
weird,
there like Devin Smiley and Jacob Cable who can just do that shit on lock and make it look
yeah.
easy. It's
And then
incredible.
go the other way too. Like Devin can 180 into a backwards manual, go straight, and then Indian out of the backwards manual. And that was one of those tricks when I was like younger and really in it. I was like, I think that might be possible. And I tried it for months, and I was no progress whatsoever. And I'm like, it's got to be physically impossible. And then nowadays, everybody's on it.
Those are
There's
some of my
this
favorite tricks
kid.
to see. I love the crazy balance
Yeah.
maneuvers.
Do you know? I think it's Renato. Right. Do you know Renato from overseas? He's a backwards manual lord. He can,
Mm,
let's
not
see.
that I know of. I might recognize
I
it if I
know.
saw it, but
I want to get his
I'm bad
name
with
right.
names.
Renato. Yeah, it's Renato Rankso. I'll send you his profile right now. He's so good, dude. I'm gonna send it to you. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I'm out of the loop. I don't keep up with shit enough. I don't know who's up and coming and killing it.
Yeah, that's one of the questions I was gonna ask you, man. You're out of the loop though. What about in Washington? Like who's around you in Washington that you're excited about, or that I should know about?
Mm, I don't know. There's my scene is super small. I ride with like three homies. We got Hayden Duncan, we got Brandon Miller, Walter Martinez. Those are my
Sick.
guys. So I just a little squad out here. But yeah, it's just us where I'm at in my part of the state. But then if you go northwest in like Seattle area, there's some rippers over there. Like John Nelson, I think he rides for Fit.
Yeah.
He's one of the Washington boys to look
Yeah.
out for. But other than that, I really don't know. Obviously Hoder, but
Yeah.
everyone knows him.
Hoder's a gangster.
Hell yeah.
So what's it like hanging out with your three homies? Like, do you guys go to the skate park? Are you guys working on a video project at all, or is it
Uh,
all for the gram? And what's like just bust out phones? Is any of you a filmer? Because every crew needs a little filmer guy, you know?
Yeah, we all film each other and shit, but no, there's no like one filmer. And these are just dudes who enjoy riding for fun. It's just
That's dope.
their hobby, the thing they, unwind with, the thing that they gets them out of the house and
Yeah.
shit like that. But little homie Hayden's been getting after it more. I've been trying to show him the ropes, take him on road trips, trying to show him what it's like to find a spot, what it's like to drive around to a new city that you've never been before, and scrape every little alleyway until you
Sick.
find something and document it all and
Yeah.
do all that shit. So It's fun.
What's your favorite part of the whole process of just BMX street riding in general?
I think just being out in general, just exploring cities. It's such a cool way to see a city.
It's the
So funny
best.
to so funny to hear what other people do on trips because it's like, oh, you're going to touristy shit. Like I was just in Paris, and I didn't even see the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I think it's such a
Yeah.
cool way to see a city when you're, I don't know what the Eiffel Tower looks like, but I know what the
Streets
alleyways
of
and the
Paris feels like,
little
yeah.
cuts, and you get to see what like the homeless people are like, and you just get such a different vibe of the city than you would driving around or just going to touristy shit.
It's something
So I'd say
special about
just
that, man.
seeing the vibe of a city, seeing
Yeah.
what people are doing, people watching.
I think I'd agree, dude. Just like pedaling around a city where I lose sense of direction. I don't know where north south is, but it's just like pedaling, exploring, and just like looking. It's every turn that you make, it's a whole new world, and I don't know. There's something magical about that. On
Absolutely.
that tip, what's been your favorite city to ride in? Not counting international trips. We already know you love them, but here,
uh, yeah, obviously there's Barcelona and Leon or two that come to mind, but yeah, in the States, I'd probably say like Philly, New York area. But I think that's the best time I've had being able to just purely, leave the crib, go pedal, find shit to ride.
yeah.
I'd say that's probably the best in America that I've experienced.
Ah, man, dude, I'm bailing on a trip. Clay and Robbie are going to New York City on April 6th, and I was like
Damn,
about to go, but work shit came up, and I really want to pedal around New York so bad. I went there for work and just walked around like Manhattan or something, and I was just like, spot, spot, spot. This is so sick, dude. And just to
amazing.
be able to cruise and pedal through traffic would be so fun.
Absolutely. It's a cool
Link up,
culture in general.
yeah, link up with like Billy and the boys, and I don't know. New York's got a pretty cool scene right now. I think Beacon lives there right now, right?
I have no idea. That's really cool though. Seems
Brando
like a fun place to
Beacon.
live.
Who's who do you consider, your close friends in the BMX industry
My close friends. I
besides
love everyone
me?
in the industry. I don't.
Yeah,
uh, I don't think I've really made any enemies in the sport yet. I hope not.
no shot. Nobody.
People that I'm close
Yeah.
with. I don't know. The first people that come to mind are, Justin Spree.
Yes, love Justin.
Fucking Lewis is one of my favorite people to kick it with. Uh, I can't believe I'm drawing a blank right now. I love the whole community. Everyone's so fun to kick it with. Everyone's
Those
got
two
their
are
own way of looking at
perfect.
riding. I don't know.
Two of the best
Love a gang.
personalities in BMX is Justin
If you ride
and Lou.
BMX, I want to be your friend.
Hell yeah, that's what's up.
Cool in my book.
Um, yeah, Lewis is. Let's talk about Lewis Mills because I got to meet him and I was so stoked because like we've talked on the internet before, but I met him one of my last trips out to Cali and just like instantly I was just like I fucking love this guy. He's taller than I
Yeah.
thought he would be. He's so sweet and so nice and always laughing and smiling and like I gave him a hug. I took a selfie and he kissed me on the cheek. I was like I fucking love this guy, dude. So goofy. Same with
Hell
Justin
yeah. It's a
Spreet,
fun
man.
dude.
Just goofball. But I was gonna say like what's it like being on a trip with Lou? Tell the audience, what Lewis Mills is like being around.
He's a man. It's super fun. I think I don't know. I think it's really special to be two of the only riders to ever be put on Fiend Pro that aren't in their initial, friend group or whatever.
True,
Obviously, there's
huh?
the OGs
Yeah.
of Fiend, and we're the only two I think that have ever reached the pro ranks that aren't from that OG group. And
Damn.
so,
That's
yeah, I don't know.
something.
It's a lot of responsibility on our backs and a lot of weight to carry. But I think it pushes us to, the extent that you see today. That's why our riding is so whatever. That's why
Yeah,
it is what it is because we hold ourselves to that standard, and it's just a Fiend standard. It's not like any other standard out there, in my opinion. So
for
it's
real.
I don't know if it's competitive, but we're definitely pushing each other constantly. And
That's dope.
I don't know if it's competitive on the surface, but like deep down, I think we're all competing for the same spot. We're all trying to carry on that legacy that Garrett bestowed on us, pretty much. So
That's real.
it's
That's
very
legit.
fun,
Yeah.
and it's pretty cool. Full circle thing to mention also is I'm pretty sure his first time coming to America to ride was he was staying with Sauce on that same summer I was staying with Sauce. And so I'm pretty sure Lewis's like first time really riding street in America was with me with Sauce. And
Sick,
then,
dude.
fast
Yeah.
forward now and we're, the two dudes on Fiend. It's pretty cool.
Small world. That's
It's
amazing,
incredible how
man.
it happens.
So elaborate on pushing each other. What does that look like in practice?
I think it's just feeding off everyone pushing themselves. Just the standard we hold ourselves to is, so high when we're working on a Fiend project, and it's just it's just in the air. We just know that we're
Yeah, it's like
trying to do some special
unspoken.
shit.
Yeah.
We're trying to carry a lineage that we care deeply about, and so it's just an understanding that we need to bring the best out of each other, bring the best out of ourselves, and
Yeah.
just get down however we can.
Do you guys, so like I love both elements of being with a crew that you can just like be encouraging and positive and say really nice things like you got this, bro, you're the best. But I also really love talking shit in a really like if it comes from a good place in the heart of just like you suck, dude, you don't have
Right.
this, and then that's my favorite, like that type
Yeah.
of shit talk. Is that the vibe, or is it general positivity? Like what do you prefer if somebody's like at a spot with you? You actually, I've seen you just get locked into the zone. There's no real talking to you, like you're kind of zeroed in.
Yeah, it takes me a lot to find that focus, but yeah, I'm super concentrated when I'm in there. And what I described sound like super heavy. It's not like we're sitting around like, oh, we got to be the fucking
No,
the
I
people of this
didn't take it
generation.
as
But it's
heavy,
very
bro.
it's
Yeah,
very lighthearted. And we're having fun. We're
yeah,
fucking with each other. It's always poking fun.
of course.
But yeah, in terms of like the best shit talkers out there, I think Sauce is the best at that. I've never had
100%.
someone who just makes me laugh more and just
Yeah.
makes you like believe in yourself in a way that's hilarious. Because it's like, the fuck are you doing, dude? Throw the bar spin. Like, it's gonna work. What do you mean? You're scared? Or just like
Yes.
shit
So
like that
good.
is so funny and so blunt and so honest that it's just like, oh, you know what? Yeah, you're right. All right. I'm gonna throw the shit. Fuck you.
Exactly. It's like I can do it. Fuck you. You're right. There's something magical about Sauce, man. And he's put that energy into real estate investing now, which is super dope to see him succeed in that. And so, yeah, Sauce is balling. If you anybody in BMX needs to borrow money, hit up Sauce the Boss.
It's pretty cool. Yeah, I don't know. There's been a few heads throughout my career that have, you know, uh, uh, just did so much for me that I, can't think of them enough for. And Sauce was, I think, the first person who ever really filmed like a real project with and let me stay on his couch for 3 whole months.
Yeah,
And,
dude, that's a long time.
showed me
3
around every
months.
single day, drove
Sick.
around all of California to film a video, and he's just down as fuck with the whole process. So
Kind
yeah,
of
without
put
the
you
help of
on
him,
to
I
the next
would
level.
not
Yeah.
be where I am today.
Who else has helps like that?
It's definitely JJ Palmier to mention. He's a good one.
Love
He's the first
JJ.
person to reach out from Fiend, and it's inspired me a lot to be smart with how you take care of yourself early on in the career.
Yeah.
So I've been trying to be health conscious and just careful about what I do with myself in terms of risk reward of trying tricks and shit like that.
Yeah.
And who else? Obviously Garrett. I mean, he's taken me under his wing since I was a teenager, taking me all over the world, and
so dope.
being able to see that filming process and see how he processes tricks and does all that shit, and being able to just bounce trick ideas off with him, priceless.
Yeah, I can't even imagine.
Tony Annis is one of my favorite people in the game. One of
So
my best
chill.
friends.
Yeah.
The wealth of knowledge that you get from just observing those two do their thing is incredible.
Yeah.
And they're so fun to just watch and absorb all that.
What's it like filming with Tony?
It's amazing. Like sometimes you're filming people and you just have a slight bit of doubt. They're like, do they have the angle right? Do they know what they're doing with this? Are they messing with the zoom? Are they going to miss the button? All these little things it's so easy to break your focus. It's so easy to, notice the tiniest little quirk and it throw you off and to, set your focus back a whole nother 30 minutes or some bullshit. And with him, it's just complete trust. And I never once have to question whether or not he's, seeing the trick in the right way or hitting the proper angle, or if he's making the right decision to use long or fish or any of that. It's just like complete trust, and it allows me to do what I do and stay as focused as I possibly can without ever having to doubt whether or not he's going to capture it right.
That's so dope.
And just to know that this motherfucker is pointing the camera at Garrett Reynolds for all the craziest tricks in the world.
Yeah,
dude.
Like, yeah.
It just makes you like, I value his time so much. Like, if this motherfucker's pointing the camera at me, I'm going to do some shit. I'm going to make sure this counts, because I don't know. He's seen it all. He's filmed Harrington, filmed Ty, filmed Mira, filmed Nyquist, everybody. It's incredible.
What's his early work? End Search, and I'm blanking on another one that he did with the VX. Am I tripping? He's done multiple full lengths with the VX in North Carolina, right? Like there's End Search, and then is there another one? Sorry, Tony, if you're listening.
That's the that's the earliest like full length that I know of. But he's definitely he's been filming all kinds of stuff. He's told me he's filmed fights before. He's filmed all kinds of random shit. But
Fights?
yeah, that's the
Like
earliest one. Yeah.
that's
I
dope.
think randomly it came up in conversation like, yo, it'd be so sick to film fights. You ever done anything like that? It's like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I filmed a bunch of funny shit. It was funny
Like
to hear.
uh street fights or like a organized fight?
I would think, yeah, like an MMA fight, a sanctioned fight.
Sick.
And it's
That's
just so
interesting.
fun listening to him tell stories about like North Carolina and stuff. He's seen so many generations of BMX. He's kicked it with Josh
Yeah.
Farrington and Dave Mira, and obviously he's filmed almost everything Garrett's ever done.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it means a lot to have him point the camera at me. It's really
That's
cool.
amazing. Dude, I can't say it enough. I'm so excited for if a Fiend video comes out sometime this year. I'm very, very, very fucking excited for that. And Tony, like he just I think there is it's art, so there's no right or wrong way, but for showing off what a trick should look like or to like emphasize the difficulty of a trick, there is a right way to film some tricks and he nails it all the time. The
Absolutely.
and then the whole style of Fiend that you guys have created with the I don't know, the music is a big part of the vibe, the way Tony films and the B-roll of the Super 8 or whatever that is. It's just a certain style, dude, it is its own thing and everybody's kind of copying that formula. Like
Yeah,
they set the standard.
I think it's really cool to see in the same way that Garrett has set the standard and written the playbook on what BMX street riding is, in my opinion. I think Tony's done the same exact thing with filming,
Yeah, big
and it
time.
makes sense because they go hand in hand. And yeah, I think they're two of the best at what they do.
For
It's really
real.
cool to see everyone kind of copy what he does, and it's always funny. Pushes him to
Yeah.
try new shit and to be better because he knows people are watching as well.
Yeah.
Got to
It's
keep it creative and stuff like
man,
that.
the pressure. I mean, pressure but no pressure. You just keep doing what you're doing and it's like second nature to them at this point and you want to keep progressing, but like to like if you sit back and be like, "Oh shit, everybody's watching." Like this we're the ones. We got to do that shit. I'm sure that thought doesn't cross their minds that much, but yeah. Uh I'm curious about your influence from Garrett and like what clip of Garrett's had like the most impact on you, if you can think of one from his deadline part or from any of his Fiend or Red Bull videos or the plethora of shit that he's put out. What what sticks out in your mind clip wise
um,
from Garrett?
I think more than anything, just the pure progression and able to bring things to life that no one's ever seen before. You hear people talk about creative writing. In my opinion, he's the most creative writer ever. Like
Yeah.
who has done more tricks than him? He's written the whole fucking book on, new combos, new barspin variations.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's what I was inspired by the most is just,
Pushing it.
taking tricks and doing the absolute most with them and seeing what the limit is with all of them. It's done, all of the progressive tail whips, bar spins, switch bars, all kinds of crazy grinds.
Yeah.
And, anything from a crazy flat rail combination to a giant trick on a huge setup or,
Yeah.
and everything in between. So I think just purely progression, innovation. And yeah, that's where I get my motivation from is just progressing the sport, innovating, coming up with new shit that people haven't seen before.
Yeah.
And yeah, I strive to do the exact same thing that he's done with the bar spin, with things like crank flips,
Yep.
things like, exit brides and shit like that. Just
Sick.
anything to, bring something new into the light.
Yeah, I think the X Up ride is pretty hot right now. A lot of kids are doing that shit, and to the point where like some kids at skate parks are just like literally coming out of the bowl, doing an X Up ride, going like a mile, and then just pulling out of the X Up ride back in.
Right.
And I'm all for it, have fun, but I'm like, damn, dude, do something.
It's so funny because to me, like, it's honestly not even a trick I like to see very often. Like, it's kind of hard to make it look good or like do something cool with it. So I don't know. I'd like taking the challenge of like doing tricks that are kind of silly or kind of maybe not so hard, and then trying to see if you can do really hard and difficult things with them.
Well,
Same thing with like a crank flip.
You do a great job with it. Yeah.
Thank you. Like a crank flip is relatively like pretty easy compared to a lot of tricks, but I don't know. I enjoy trying to take it to the extreme and do the hardest shit I can possible with them.
Yeah.
Same thing with the X-Up ride.
The way that you do X-Up rides and keeping it like over a short distance and making it part of a combo is dope. Like the thing that I don't necessarily like is a long X-Up ride. It feels like I want to blow the whistle and say traveling, like stop it.
100%. All right, dude, you're not doing anything there. Yeah, if it's not quick, it's definitely like you're kind of stalling a little bit.
And just scream at him. That's not it. That's funny.
Unless it's backwards. Holding it backwards is
dude,
pretty hard. But other than that.
I've seen some full 180 and land in a fakie X-Up, like no landing and then X-Upping. Like landing in a fakie X-Up is kind of absolutely insane. Can you do that?
Yeah, I
I'm sure
can.
you can.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have fun with those. I can like bar spin into them and shit too. But
You
it's
can 180 bar to backwards
yeah.
X up ride.
Um, but it's super cool. I was just riding with this dude. I believe his name's Reed in Austin, Texas, and yeah, he's taking on the X up thing as his own, and he's doing all kinds of crazy X up, fakey X up variations, and controlling them and full cabin out and doing all kinds of crazy shit.
What's his name?
Super cool to see. I think his name is Reed. I'm not sure. I'd have to find his Instagram or something, but I think
Well,
it's
yeah, I
R
don't know
E
if it'll
I
come up.
D
Reid.
Austin, Texas rider I just met. But yeah,
Reed
it's always cool to
T.
see people.
Sullivan. Reed is really bad. Reed
Yeah, I
Harper.
think it's that one.
Reed is
Reed
really
is really
bad.
bad.
Yeah,
I
he's
want to
got
say yeah.
Casey Case as his profile picture, so like
Uh,
that's why I said it.
makes sense.
Hell yeah,
But
excited. You just
yeah, if you want to see some cool X up shit.
you just answered a question that I was gonna ask without really asking it. Yeah, I try and ask everybody like, who should I know that I don't know? Let's see. We talk about Garrett, his influence. How about and we talked about. Did we talk about like your favorite clip? Yeah, the pegs to double bar.
But yeah, I mean, actual favorite ones are still not out yet.
Yeah, dude.
I wish I could elaborate on those, but I probably
the,
should.
the fact that you said 80% of what you filmed with Fiend is not out yet. That's
I would think so. Yeah, it's.
yeah.
I mean, some of those clips I was like 19 that are still sitting on 18, 19. I would think.
My BMX boner is getting hard for, for your unseen footage.
Obviously, it's been a long time, and I can, add more layers to those tricks now, which I'll probably have to recreate a lot of them. But I think when the video comes out, it'll be pretty interesting because you can tell I was a young kid. Like I had dreadlocks and shitty shoes that were falling apart. And then,
Yeah.
you get to see my sponsors change throughout the video from having, blown up shitty Nike shoes to getting on Etnies for the first time. And then
Yep.
I had N shoes, and now I'm riding Van shoes.
Sick.
It's pretty funny to see
Damn.
the progression of it. I think it'll be interesting when it comes out.
You ran the whole circuit for shoes, dude.
I guess so, yeah.
What was the? Were you on Nike? Is that a thing back then?
No.
Okay,
I
you're
wish. That'd be
just
crazy.
rocking shitty Nikes. Like Nike
yeah,
was
those
kind of
just random
out
ones
of
I got.
BMX by the time you were at sponsorship potential, I think. Right?
Pretty much, yeah. I think so.
Nike's been gone for a while. And then
Crazy.
I don't know about Ends. What's the deal with Ends footwear?
It was just a group of brothers that had some good funding from their parents that wanted to make some shoes and do some cool shit for BMX, and it was one of the only brands that I've ever seen sponsor BMX, scooters, skateboarding.
Yeah.
Say what you want about scootering, but I thought it was pretty cool that they were able to give those dudes an opportunity to get free shoes when no one else was.
Scootering is fucking sick. Like some of the shit they do is unreal. Like if you watch the right scooter videos, you're like, oh yeah, this is legit. I love it. Like
yeah, there's some homies at my skate park who do some silly shit. What, bro? That's wild. Doing cool grind combos and all that. But yeah, I don't know. It was just a little starter brand that they tried to make, and it didn't last too long. But it was a good run. We got an amazing trip out of it. They treated us well while they could. And I think they might be transitioning to just clothing now or whatever. It's obviously a very expensive thing to do, is try to make shoes, but it was a good run while they tried.
It's a hell of an endeavor to start.
To be able to. Yeah, it's cool to be a part of it as well. Being like the inaugural pro team, it's pretty cool. Obviously, there was only one run of riders or whatever, but
still, it takes a lot of balls to like be like, I'm going to start a shoe company. That's hats off to them.
Heavy endeavor.
Then after Ends was Vans. How did that happen for you?
Yeah, I think I just had Tony put in the word to Colin McKay, who I believe runs all the sponsorships from Vans, and I had just put on a good showing at the Vans HB contest or the Waffle Cup, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Very shortly before that, so I think it made sense, and
boom.
Yeah, it all lined up, and we've been flirting since fucking 2017, 2018 or some shit. I remember winning some Vans contests in the Huntington Beach, like their AM contest, and then mentioning they wanted to get me shoes at the time, and it never happened, but yeah, I don't know. I've been flirting them for a while, so it's cool to actually have that come to fruition and be a part of some mainstream brands.
How long has it been?
Odyssey and Vans at this point. Only like a month or two at this point.
Oh no,
very
shit.
Fresh.
Yeah, cool. Congrats, dude. That's fire.
It was very cool. I think they do more for BMX than almost any other company out there. So
they do.
It's very cool to be a part of that.
And I'm so curious about like because so many companies have come and gone into BMX, like Levi's or I don't know, Osiris or name a company that probably have come in, sponsored a BMX team, went for a year, and then we're like, up, no profit here. Let's get out of here. Like,
Yeah,
I wondered what companies are thinking when they like make the investment into like having a professional team and the the ROI of BMX, because it's such a niche. And even within the niche of BMX as a whole, there's different niches, like the park riders who Kieran Riley's doing triple flares, and R Willie doing, dude, the dirt jump shit that R Willie just did. What would, do you know what I'm talking about? The latest at the Toyota triple jump. He did a
I
special
honestly
flip, I
don't,
think.
but those dudes are always doing shit that I can't comprehend at all. It's
Yeah, I
pretty
think
damn
it's
cool to
a
see.
pretty sure he did a special flip. Dude, he like body flipped. He flipped his body while also holding onto the bike and then got back on the bike and landed. Like, it's just
Damn,
video game shit. So that's a
wild.
niche. And then we got our technical street niche, and then there's pool riders, dirt riders, like it's all kind of and then even all of that combined, it's still a very small like fraction of people. And I think it's
Absolutely.
partly because the barrier to entry, it's so expensive to get a BMX bike, like to get a skateboard is like $100, and then
Yeah,
it's pretty simple and straightforward. But to get a good BMX bike is a grand. Well, that's not true. Like a decent complete bike is like 500.
yeah. I mean, I have my own opinion about this, but I'd like to ask you, what do you think is the one biggest Hail Mary move that we could do as a BMX industry, as a culture, to get into the mainstream, to get into the public eye, to make this shit look cool? What is the first thing that comes to mind of like the biggest, Hail Mary what if scenario
Hail Mary, what if scenario of what
that will pull us out into the
as a
mainstream
whole.
and upgrade BMX to the next level?
I would say to get into the zeitgeist, we need to have personalities shown and kind of show how I'm visualizing bringing back Road Fools, but in a different, in a modern TV show type of way, type shit,
Yeah.
where you get to see the lifestyle of it and get to see all the behind the scenes and the antics, and but also like the positive stuff behind the scenes, rather than just like partying like Jackass or like Baker. Like that's cool. I guess it was cool, but I don't think that's very cool anymore to like promote drinking, doing drugs, and partying your ass
Mhm.
off. Like, that's fun to watch for a little bit, but I don't know. What's your
We
answer
can do
to
better.
that? Yeah. What's your Hail
Um,
Mary answer?
I personally think it's getting the entire industry to buy into this BMX video game that's being produced right now. Um,
Ah,
that little pipe demo that they put out years
yeah.
ago. People still play that shit every single day. And I
Yeah.
think it would be a massive missed opportunity if we didn't collectively, as a community, buy into that game, get, a couple riders from every team into that game, get all these sponsors into it, have Colt, BSD, Fiend, Sabrosa,
Dude.
whoever, get all these main ones in the game in
Yeah.
the same way that we have Skate 3, and you could play as all these other different brands. You'd have all these different skaters, you could have all the products you could choose from. And I just think it would be a massive failure if we didn't collectively, find a way to contribute to this game. And
Dude.
and just think of, how many people get into a video game and then that branches into an interest of theirs. Like, I guarantee I probably wouldn't have started martial arts if I didn't start playing a UFC video game, or
Yeah.
get obsessed with filming and writing in the way that I am
Yeah.
without playing something like Skate 3,
Yep.
or
Dave
everything in
Mira,
between.
all that shit.
100%. I will do terrible things to play Dave Mirra. You know what I
Dude,
mean?
you're right. A video game is the move. The
and
That's
yeah,
really smart. I love that take.
and I personally think we need to cast someone into the spotlight of, having the title of just being the dude in BMX in the same way that skateboarding had Tony Hawk.
Yeah.
And there's three people come to mind. To me, it's either Garrett, Dennis, or Chad Curley. I
Yeah.
think those are the three possible candidates that would do great at it. Maybe put them all three on there.
For
But
real.
I just think we need someone to step up into that position where some
Be the
random person would be like,
ambassador.
"Oh, what's BMX? Oh, like Garrett Reynolds?"
Yeah.
Or, "Oh, you skate? Also, what, like Tony Hawk?"
Yeah,
And we don't have
exactly.
that. Or it's like, "Oh, what, like that stuff Dennis Anderson does?" Or, "Oh, what,
Yeah.
Chad Curley?" Like, I think we need that shit. And I think a video game is what is the answer to that. And think of how many people, like, how does a kid get their first bike today? What inspires a kid to get their first bike? Why is a kid asking their dad for a bike for the first time? Maybe
Yeah.
X Games, maybe someone's vlog. It's not like video parts aren't putting kids onto bikes.
No.
And in order to keep the integrity of what we do, I think we need to, have a video game that displays how you film a video part, and you can even have like challenges in the game to where your main accomplishment is getting out of your hometown and filming a video part and getting noticed and all this shit, and just putting it into a spotlight and showing kids like there's a path to do this, there's a way to become a professional, there's a way to
Yeah.
make money through this, and it's an incredibly fun culture, and just show the camaraderie and all that through a video game. And I think that if you could get a 10-year-old kid playing a video game, he's inevitably gonna have fun with it and think, oh, maybe I want to do this in real life. Why am I playing the video game when I can do this in real life? I want to go get a bike. I should tell my friends to get a bike. I really liked seeing Garrett in that video game, so I'm gonna get a Fiend. Or Dakota Roche was sick in that video game. I love that. I want to get a cult bike or any of that shit. And I just think that that's missing. And the game is being produced right now. There's people working on this shit right now.
Yeah, it's all DIY still, right? How long? It's been going for 5 or 6 years, I think, at this point. I remember when it first came out, I was like, oh shit, cool.
And
like to start producing a video game is so wild.
And I have a lot of ideas about online competition in the video game. I should probably save that for an email chain or something.
Yeah,
I don't know if I should give out all the ideas I have, because people could probably take it. But
dude, that's great.
I don't know what we need to do.
Are you in contact with the guy?
No, but I need to be. And I'm inviting anyone right now. If you want to get involved with this shit, let's start getting email chains going. Let's start figuring out how much each brand needs to pitch in. See if we can collectively agree on a number that we can pitch in to get our shit in the game, instead of having the mindset of, well, how much is this going to make me?
Right.
Start thinking about, what can we do for BMX? What can we, do
That's
to put us
BMX
in the spotlight in a cool way?
Yeah.
What can we do for BMX? Yeah, exactly.
That's a great idea. Dude, I really love that idea. Let's do that.
Industry heads, let's start
let's go.
Let's get some email chains. Let's start doing this. We got to start coming
up with juiced up now. Let's go, baby. That's such a good idea, man.
Thank you. I've been trying to have this conversation with anyone who's willing to listen. Anyone. I was just talking to Wes McGrath about this too. Like, yo, what do you think about this? Or, I've been talking Garrett's head off about it. I want him to be on the cover of it.
I could totally see that. It's either Garrett or Dennis or Chad, like you said, or Nathan comes to mind. But marketability wise, I think either Dennis or Garrett and Chad, dude. Chad's got the personality for it. They 100%. All can do everything. Like they can ride anything and everything. I could also see like in a different realm, because it's not so much street, but like our Willie has a lot of mass appeal. Like the Nitro Circus shit is a kind of it's not something you can ignore. So he would hopefully be a part of it. And just like Skate 3, there's like mega ramp parks, but then there's also, it's just a free open world, and you can make of it what you will and go ride the dirt jumps and do the crazy R Willie shit, or you can stick to the streets and have a Tony Ennis character just smoking cigs filming you, dude. It's so good. Yeah, I love that idea.
Absolutely. And I think competitiveness is a key aspect to any video game. And imagine if you could play a game of bike with your homie virtually, and you
for real,
put it in an online pool and be pitted against people one-on-one. And my main thing is, imagine if it was, I don't know, a Dennis Anderson Street BMX or a Garrett Reynolds Street BMX, and to have one of these people like Red Bull or X Games buy into it. I mean, think with Garrett, he's the most winningest X Games athlete of all time.
Yeah,
why wouldn't you want to have an X Games video game with him on the cover or some shit?
For real. And I love that.
I mean, imagine if you could play a contest format against 6 other people in an online group chat, and you guys are all doing runs together, competing in an X Games style format, talking shit to each other over the mics, getting scored live. You know what I mean? And you could have like ranked shit. You could be like the best contest rider virtually, and you'd have your own little ranking, and everyone could compete for the rankings.
Dude, you're sparking the gamer in me. I'm getting juiced up. I'm so excited. That's fucking awesome. I got
Let's make it happen.
I'm ready to go, dog. Let's go.
Yep.
We could end on that, man. That's fantastic. Shit. So if anybody out there knows the guy, I'm the guy who's producing the Pipe BMX, and I don't know, what are the next steps to get that done? I don't know, but I think maybe this conversation sparks it. We'll clip this shit out immediately and put it on the IG and get the conversation rolling at least. Dude, I'm not lying. That's a great idea to get BMX to do something for BMX and get new eyeballs on it and get the next generation stoked. And yeah, great idea, Johnny. You're fucking.
And I mean,
you're a wizard.
What else are we doing besides trying to get kids into BMX, get kids their first bikes? I mean, technically that's all what we're doing as pro riders, is to try to sell bikes,
inspire the kiddos.
That would be more beneficial to
it's huge.
Get kids wanting to buy BMX bikes than having a video game that they can play.
Yeah.
And
Shit.
but yeah, I don't know
I
what
love
else
it.
to do. That's why I'm just trying to bring it up. I'm trying to talk to anyone that I can about it. And yeah,
You
let's
just
start
gotta,
emailing any
you gotta,
industry heads. Let's start pulling together. Let's start getting one big ass group chat with all the important heads of all these brands, and just start,
yeah.
let's talk numbers. How much is reasonable for everyone to pitch in? Let's
Yep.
come together from a common agreed number that we can pitch in.
Yeah.
So obviously, it's not like it's not like a Sunday BMX video game or like a cult game, or
Right.
we gotta
You
make
can
shit even
have
better.
everybody involved. And dude, yeah, and now that makes me wonder, like, how much is it to actually produce a really well done video game? With
Mhm.
technology these days, it's like so, open source. Like, dudes can just create a video game at home at this point. And with AI coming out, we're about to go into some weird shit. AI could
Yeah.
design a video game like the future is wild. I hope that this BMX game. How do you know how to? I would like to play it. I'm on PC. It's called
Mhm.
it's called Pipe BMX.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they have a free trial that came out years ago, and it's probably like $10.
I'm on,
But I mean, it's pretty bare bones. It's just like a couple little maps. But I mean, the like the trick,
yeah, it's on
controls are
Steam.
all
Yeah,
they all make sense. They're all already proper, and I mean, I'm sure that everything looks way better now than it does then after a few years of them working on it. And yeah, I mean, think of how much funding we could give them as a community to make that shit something really special.
for real.
And I mean, think of all these. If we did have a figurehead of the game, someone like a Dennis or a Garrett, and they have, Monster Money or Rockstar or Red Bull,
Right.
X Games especially too. I mean, I'm sure we could find some big corporation to, help buy into this shit as well,
I think that's where the
as
big
well as all the
budgets
other
are. Is
people.
where Monster, Red Bull, and X Games and
100%.
Vans probably has a little bit of a.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that either. Yeah, amazing.
All the shoe companies that could be involved. Dude, I love it. Um, the the wheels are turning.
Let's get the ball rolling. Let's go. We need
Um,
the community to band together. Let's make something special out of this shit.
that's dope. Okay, before we leave though, we gotta do the standards. I don't know if you've listened to the show
Okay.
before, but
Yeah.
Mount Rushmore. Hit me with it.
Is that 5 names?
4.
4? Dylon, Dylon, Dylon. Shout out Dave Chappelle. Let's see. 4. Fuck. First people that come to mind is Dave Mira, Edwin De La Rosa, Van Homan, Garrett Lowndes. To me.
Nice.
But
That's
if you want to do street riding, the first one that come to mind are Edwin, Van, Garrett, someone like Donachie or Nathan.
yeah.
Those are
Dude,
the ones that
the
stand out to
the
me.
first one that you said is probably the most uh reflective of all of the internet comments that I've seen when
Really.
these Mount Rushmore clips get posted.
That's cool.
Everybody's like, "Why didn't you say Dave Mira?" But you hit the nail on the head.
Hell yeah. Dennis
then-
Emerson deserves to be involved in that conversation.
100%.
So many people deserve to be involved in that, but those are the first ones.
It's so tough to limit it down to 4. Somebody asked me on Instagram the other day to your 3 top riders, and I was just like, "Fuck, dude!" Like you're just like, "Oh, I'm leaving out Felix. I'm leaving out Jordan. I'm leaving out Johnny. I'm leaving out Colin." Like there's so many high level riders that you end up leaving out. Okay.
Yeah. So incredibly suggestive. It's hard. I mean, like, who's the best musician out there? I think you can't say that.
It's all
So hard.
subjective.
Yeah.
I'd say the most accomplished winningest is Garrett Reynolds with the most X Games medals for sure. Right?
More
aside
tricks
from-
invented than anyone. I mean,
Yeah.
that shit is super impressive, but I think even more importantly, just the amount of tricks that he's,
Dude.
contributed to BMX is off the charts.
And the
that
amount
shit
of
is
time he's been doing it too. Like from when I started, he was already going, and that was 20 years ago. Like he's the LeBron James. LeBron James is kind of impressive. The fact that he's still top of the game, and it's 20 years in the league now or more. Which
Yeah.
Garrett, the fact that he's still progressing, and I'm sure he's sitting on an hour of footage with Tony. That like, oh
Probably,
man,
yeah.
I'm so excited, dude. Okay.
Yeah.
The other thing is advice for youngsters. I mean, you're kind of a youngster yourself, John, but kids getting into BMX, what would you tell them if they came up to you and they said, "Hey, dude, what do I got to do to make it in this BMX thing?" So first of all, don't ask that question. Just,
I mean, if you really are into it and you really want to be someone like a professional level rider, I would say make sure that you love this shit more than anything else in your life. Because if you don't, if you're not obsessed with this more than anything else in your life, it is not going to be worth your time. This is way too hard. This is way too stressful. It's way too painful. It's way too dangerous. If this is not your main focus in life, what you want to do more than anything, then I would say don't try to become a professional. But if you're a
Facts.
person who is obsessed with this shit, who gets a smile on their face no matter, anytime they step on their bike, it's a good time and they enjoy it and it feeds their soul and it's fucking fun. It makes you feel good and gets you inspired, then yeah, fucking go for it. And just have fun with it and find your lane, find something unique that you can bring to the table. And oftentimes that'll get you made fun of in the beginning. People might poke fun at you, might say that that's a weird trick, why are you doing it that way? But you just got to find your lane, find the creative thing that you can bring and you can contribute to BMX, and find some new shit to bring to the table.
Which leads to another question. How do you handle when people pick on you and say, "Oh, you're being different or weird?" And what have you learned from being a young gun, hanging out with the pro big dogs, and how to interact and personality stuff and things to keep in mind and that type of mindset stuff?
I don't know. I honestly, it's hard for me to say. I feel like I have a pretty traditional style. Only like out of the box shit I might do is maybe like some X upright stuff or crank flips. But I'm not one of these people who's like goofy footed or all those things. So it's hard to say. But I encourage anyone to just pursue the thing that you have that's unique.
Yeah.
If you're a goofy footed rider, be the best fucking goofy rider person in the world. If you are good at some random weird little trick, become the best in the world at that random little weird trick, and see how far you can take it.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if someone else thinks it's cool. If you have fun with it and it feels good and it feels creative to you, then run it. Just have fun with that shit. And
that's fire.
If it's fun to you and it brings you joy and you're stoked on it, then whatever.
That reminds me, when you say like get the best at one little trick, there's this dude on Instagram named Lil Slide. I don't know if you've seen him, but he does a 180 and then literally every single Instagram post is just like a cool long slider down a bank and then like over shit around corners. And then as soon as he turns out, he does a hop whip. Every single clip. I'm just like, I can't stop watching it. Every time he posts it, I'm like, I know what's coming, but this is dope. He's got the sliders on lock.
I've seen another dude who keeps nose mailing upstairs. Shit like
yeah,
that.
dude. Nose mailing upstairs is unreal.
Figure that shit out. Run it to the fullest extent. See how long you can, see how far you can take that trick. And
lean into it.
It's fun, make sure you're enjoying what you do. This shit's so stressful and hard on us already. Like, just have fun with it. Find a way to enjoy it.
I love the way you think you're thinking about what you can do or what we can do for BMX, which is like, I think a huge piece of advice to kids, like Ronnie said, throw your own jam. Even if it's a small jam, start throwing jams, get the community together. Treat everyone with respect and, positive vibes. Obviously talk shit when it's fun and from a good place, but ask not what BMX can do for you, but JFK.
And I mean, BMX is too small to be all clicked up and to be all combative and,
for real
hostile people. Like, if you see a rider cruising around, you've never met him before, go say what's up. Go befriend a random dude at your skate park. If a random dude pulls up to your town on a bike, say what's up. Try to befriend him.
Yes. I love making people feel good at the skate park, dude. Like the little kid at the skate park who's like trying really hard to learn how to Smith grind and then he finally gets it, screaming for him, that's the best. Skate parks shaped my like social life from when I was 15 till 26. I was at the skate park every day. It's like a whole different world. You get to meet people from all different socioeconomic statuses and, different backgrounds. It's a melting pot. Skate parks are. It's dope.
100%. And I think you just have to be a unique person in general to be into action sports.
Yeah.
You're already, if this is your thing, you're already a pretty unique, interesting person.
Facts.
So it's so fun to, just meet all the different flavors of humanity through BMX. It's incredible how diverse it is.
All right. Well, we can wrap it up, Johnny. Thank you for coming on.
Fun chat with you.
How long did we do? Almost 2 hours. That's a pretty good podcast.
Very nice.
As we wrap it up, I'll borrow a line from one of my favorite podcasts. Now that we're coming to a close, Johnny, what was your favorite part of this podcast?
Being able to fucking chop it up with a person in BMX. I don't know. I live in a small town where I don't really get to talk about BMX to my friends very often. I don't really get to have a conversation where, we just chop it up, kick it, and talk about random bullshit. So Always
That'll do
enjoy
it.
the chance to talk to my fellow BMX friends.
All right. Anything to plug? You got more shit coming out in the future? Hello.
FleetsCondiamonds.com, baby.
Okay.
OdysseyBMX.com, FiendBMX.com. Support us, support what we do. Like, like you just said, throw your own jam, make friends with your homies, befriend a random kid at the skate park, show people the right way to do shit, have fun.
Stay healthy, be positive, etc. Did you say Vans BMX? Because do that too. Vans BMX.
Vans BMX as well. Thank you. Gecko Hawaii, if you want some cool pants.
Yes, Gecko Hawaii. Are they hooking you up with this?
What's that?
I want some. Are they hooking you up? How much are those pants? I'm finna buy some. You got a code?
No, I should tell him though. Steve from Peep Game is friends with them, and I was just rocking the Peep Game collab, and the dude ended up reaching out and was like, "Yo, if you're friends with Steve, you're friends with me. Let me give you some stuff."
Hell yeah,
so,
dude!
Yeah, I love them. They're thin, they're durable.
I love that. Gecko Hawaii. And the first photo on their website is skating. So boom, they know what's good.
Hell yeah.
I think you might be onto something here with these pants. All right, you pajama panther. Thank you for coming on.
I can throw head kicks in these things. I can do double crank flips in these things. I can do it all.
You run a dojo. You should get them to make you a signature American flag one, so you can be that dude from that one movie. You know what I'm talking about?
Napoleon Dynamite, right?
Yes.
Someone said that earlier today, and I read a comment and someone said that, and I didn't understand it, and then it just dawned on me right now that those are the pants you're talking about. Yep. Oh wow, that's hilarious.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on.
Appreciate your time, Bobby.
Much later, guys. Like and subscribe, all that shit. Leave a 5-star review if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, please. It helps a lot. Please. All right. Later, guys. Hello, you've reached the end of the video. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Kanode Knows. I hope you enjoyed that conversation with Johnny Raekes, and I'll see you next week where I talk to Joris Colomb. Stoked. Hope you guys have a good week. Thanks for watching. Appreciate all of you. Thanks for all the messages. Yeah, that's it. Later.